We all probably take having a normal amount of body parts for granted sometimes, while some other people might have a minimally or radically different life due to genetic differences in the womb. Which is why today we're bringing you 14 people with extra body parts. But before we get into the video, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below to stay up to date on all of our incredible videos. Let's get into it. Deepak was born with 2 extra legs coming out of his chest. Some people in his village thought he was the devil, while others believed he was some reincarnation of a Hindu god. But thankfully for Deepak, he got to show everyone that he was just an ordinary little boy when a hospital in Bangalore offered to do the $78,000 surgery to remove the limbs for free. Now he's free to live the rest of his life the way he always wanted to, and there is no extra limbs to get in his way. In the womb, sometimes the child fuses with a parasitic twin. In the case of Lakshmi Tatma, she almost had an extra body attached to her. She eventually was lucky enough to have a life-altering surgery to remove her from the parasitic twin. Back in time, sideshows would show off people with genetic differences. One famous man, George Lippert, had 3 legs, 2 hearts, and 14 toes. Much of what we know of his appearance is based on drawn cards from the era, so the placement of the leg and the nature of the genetic abnormalities may be a little bit different. Sometimes the unlikeliest events happen, and in Brittany and Abigail's case it changed their lives. They were born conjoined with 2 heads on one body. They've appeared on shows, podcasts, and more explaining their lives on channels like TLC. Over the years, we've come to grow and understand these girls so much more. When Yin Xin of China was born, doctors noticed something very unusual. The girl had an underdeveloped fetus growing on her back. It started out as just an arm, but as the girl has grown, so has the fetus. It started to take on more of a human shape with evidence of fingers and more growing as she got older. Extra nipples aren't completely unheard of. In fact, quite a few celebrities have been recorded to have them. Many people don't even realize that they have one because they look so much like moles. But one woman has outdone them all by growing a very large nipple about 2 inches wide on the sole of her foot. A boy in China with 16 toes and 15 fingers underwent surgery in 2010 to have all the extra digits removed and now is living a normal life. 4 of the fingers on one of his hands and 3 fingers on the other had actually been fused together. We hope he's doing much better and has a lot more confidence. This heartbreaking story really pressed on heartstrings. This child was born with 2 heads, one being parasitic and attached by the scalp. It was slowly killing him even though it was capable of many senses such as taste and sight. Difficult decision indeed, but a necessary one was made to have the extra head, the parasitic twin, removed. Unfortunately, the primary twin died of a brain infection sometime before his 2nd birthday. It's not too uncommon for senior citizens to develop spots of compacted keratin if they've had a lot of sun exposure throughout their lives, but it is uncommon for them to grow horns as a result of it. The famous Zhang Rufang was 100 years old when she sprouted a horn on one side of her head. It started out as a small spot made of the same material as hair or fingernails, but sprouted into what some would call a horn. Hard to believe, but it seems musician Kesha might have had a tail at one point. Apparently it was only a 1/4 of an inch long when she was born, and she didn't have it long because they had amputated it. Kesha admits that she is sad that they chopped off the tail because she thought it would have been a unique and cool thing to show to people. If there was ever a crazy party trick, that would be one of them. Anne Boleyn was the Queen of England from the years of 1533 to 1536. Now many people don't know this, but she had actually 3 fingers, but due to the danger of being locked up by the current government at the time, she hid it very well, and you really can't blame her for keeping it under wraps. A man named Dan is very unique as he was born with a genetic abnormality that has led him to have more bones than he absolutely needs. He had approximately 298 bones in his body, and a regular human only has around 206. He did eventually have surgery to have them removed. Intriguing performance artist Stelios Arcadius is very unique, the man known to have an ear growing not on, but in his arm. He had an extra ear grown in a laboratory and then surgically put inside of his arm. After a while, his body accepted the material, and now due to that, Arcadius is known across the world as the man with an ear growing on his arm. This child born in China was born with a very rare genetic deformity called transverse facial cleft. While it looks like he's wearing a mask, he was more or less born with a second face on top of his own. He eventually did get a surgery that cost $100,000. It was a priceless upgrade to his life. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope you found this all very intriguing. And as always, have a great one.